There's a phrase that we haven't heard in 3 weeks. I probably already said too much.
We're on.
Good morning. Who wants to pray this morning? You can pray this morning. All right. I'll officially call this meeting of the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to order for Tuesday, January 12th. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Zoller will lead us with the prayer.
Dear Lord, thank you for this new year. And while some may not appreciate the weather we're having today, it is still very beautiful and it shows what you can do. We ask you to give us the vision to make the right decisions for the residents of Seneca County and do this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy,
Here.
Commissioner Zoller,
Here.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Here.
We'll have the signing of the journal, and I'll accept a motion to approve the DVD recording from our session, reorganizational session held yesterday, Monday, January 11th.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Okay, any adjustments to the printed agenda that we have in front of us? Anybody have anything? Add, new, old, otherwise? Stacy?
She put the Hancock County joint phone
That's all
call
right.
we're gonna have at 10:30.
Okay. Nicole, anything to add? All right. And then we'll jump right into old business. We listed a few things there to bring up to speed on, going on. Regional planning. As the chair of the Strategic Planning Committee, we've held 2 meetings to date. Last one was on the 7th, and I felt they have been very productive, and we have a draft strategic plan that the committee was sent to the committee yesterday to review. As long as we haven't missed anything in the notes, Beth Deach with Soil Conservation Service has been serving as scribe and helping us out a great deal on compiling the conversation that we've had in those meetings. So that'll go, once that group doesn't see any changes, we're ready to, we've asked the chair or president of the board, Mayor Motz, to call a special meeting of the Regional Planning Board, so the Strategic Planning Committee can present the draft plan to that board, because it's going to need their input. And that would, timing-wise, allow if we would hold a meeting next week. That, my committee has looked at their calendars and the Wednesday worked, although that's just that small group, so I'm not sure that will happen. But if we can get that meeting called, we can present there, get input. We even have a draft of a position description for hiring a director if the exec committee or whichever committee that is going to do that process can review. And hopefully being able to maybe at that special board meeting decide to get some advertising out for a director position, have input on the plan, and then be prepared in 2 weeks at the regularly planned meeting, which is February 3rd. They could feasibly adopt a plan and have a nice report and an update of where we're at in the hiring process of filling a director position. So that's an update as I know it. If anybody's got any questions or anything on that?
The only question I have is how has it been going with the staff here handling regional planning, the sewer district? I understand that SIDEC has stepped up and Karen Bowers is helping us keep us compliant, and there was a
WSOS is helping.
WSOS,
Yes.
okay, so we are compliant on everything, and if there is any low-hanging fruit on any grants out there, they are investigating those, and we come up with a compensation level.
For WSOS, Tanya has the contract that she just got that the other day with WSOS. I think they had a not to exceed of, I want to say 12,000, which is less than what our admin fee that we will get back. So.
Oh, really? Okay, so we would still get the admin fees, and we would just give them a portion of that? For
Yeah, that's how the regional planning they wanted to keep the revenue coming through that way, so.
Yeah.
we'll still run it through regional planning, and they just haven't signed that contract yet, so. But they worked quite a few hours with Tanya, helping her figure out where all of our grants are at, so. I say we're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Anything else with regional planning? Okay. Joint Justice Center, the next meeting is January 22nd, next Friday, 10:30, and we are in the municipal building. I didn't get my call into Holly McLean with Wandel as I had planned, but I was just gonna touch base with her. We're hopeful, but we have contracts for A&E and CMR to be looking at or reviewing or whatever. That was the goal, along with other things. So if there's any comments or questions or anything on that?
Just the only comment, I happen to have a cousin that's an engineer down in Florida, and matter of fact, he used to work for the city. And we talked at lengths about that, and his comment was, a construction manager at risk, as long as it's a vertical project, absolutely they're worth it. Absolutely they're worth it. If it's a road project, he said it's a waste of money. But he said they will save you money, and this is someone I would consider an expert, has been in the business for a long time, certainly familiar with the Tiffin community, and he highly recommended it. And I'd have to say I was on the fence prior, but a construction manager at risk, as long as it's vertical, absolutely. It's the only way to go. So it kind of reinforces what you're doing, Holly, and I think it's right on.
Yeah. Anything else on that? All right, museum update. The next meeting of the reorganization task team of the museum is January 21st, 1 to 3. Is that right? 1:30 to 1 to 3. Here at the commissioner's office in our back room. And we're at the point of, we haven't met since November, but we'll be looking at, we've got one member of the team looking at bringing an intern in through the program with Tiffin University, trying to see if we can make those things align to work, to help us with things with the museum, market data information I'm collecting with Nicole's help on being able to, what would it take if we were going to hire a director, not saying we're going to, but it's again, we're looking through ways to operate the museum and wanting to know what that might run. And then another member working on a cooperative agreement. If we had some type of cooperative agreement made up to operate the museum with what parties involved, is that a unique board, whatever that looks like. So we're supposed to be looking at those. We had that one, a draft or a copy of, as a sample from Wood County, and a lot of differences because of the size of their properties and assets and so forth, but still was a good starting point. I think I sent that to you guys to take a look at a while back. But we've got, like I said, one of the members of the Barnstein's or Museum Foundation working on that for us. So should be a productive meeting to see kind of where we get going. I'm hoping that we kind of launch forward with some major steps because we're in the last year of the current agreement with the Historical Society serving as our manager. So we need a plan in place before long.
Well, I have to ask you, how's the level of cooperation between the various entities?
I'll give it a C.
Pardon?
I'll give it a C.
Well,
If I'm incorporating all.
That's, I mean, somehow or other, we have to play the heavy hand here. We all have to play along in the sandbox, or we control the money. And I hate to say that.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
we don't want to go the stalemate that we've had for the last 4 years. And we control the financial part of it, and we've stepped up to it, and we need all the parties to be cooperative and work together, or I don't know what we could do. And I hate to hold that heavy hand, but
No, but you're right,
it's
and that's why I made the statement. I'm hoping we see a great deal of progress, making great strides now, instead of we took the baby steps at the beginning, and I get that. It's a new process and getting everybody engaged, and every entity has a significant interest as a significant stakeholder in the museum for one reason or another. And the pure passion and love of the museum is really in the other two groups, and whereas in how do we take care of this asset for the county? But maybe, we're not the history buffs, they are. They've been there, they've been doing it. We've been different it's been different people that make up this board over the years. So they've been the constant, and it's been really tough for some of them to leave at the door, that drive and passion, and step back from it and look at the bigger picture of what's best for the museum into the future. It's just so hard to make that separation, but we've got to force it because we can't get anywhere in the reorganization effort with, with one group holding on to that. So they're gonna have to either move with us or they're gonna choose not to, I guess. But that's where we're at, and it's difficult. We've been patient, and and I think representatives of the Historical Society have talked to all of us in different venues. I believe, I'm not 100% sure of that. I know, some folks talked to you, Mike, and
Yeah.
you probably had some talk to you. I had a different person talk to me. And I think we've all shared that, we were trying to go through this process versus they want us just to jump to a level and hire a director and be done with it. And that's not what's best for the museum for the long run. We need to do the due diligence with this as I push with strategic planning with regional planning. Same thing, let's step back and take a good look at it. And so it's worth the time. Anything worth anything is worth taking a little time for and guiding it correctly. And so I think we're doing the right thing. Like I said, we are gonna advance it forward, I think, at a more steady speed now, and have to, because now we're in that last year.
Well, one of the things that's been suggested to me by a couple of citizens, and all this will do is complicate things, I understand that. Before I say it, maybe we need to reorganize the county museum before we take any further steps. But the query was, has any thought been given to joint management of the museums that exist? And by that I mean the Sunday County Museum, the Civil War Museum, and maybe the Tiffin Art Class Museum. Has there been any thought given to, and I think I know the answer, there really hasn't been, but is that subject worth exploring?
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know the answer either, but I guess it's just out there for some consideration.
I don't know the organizational structures or of the other two at all, other than we don't have any investment in them in terms of, the Seneca County Museum, that building belongs and those assets belong to us.
Yeah, I mean,
Belong to the county.
the question would be is could we find a curator or a museum manager that we may be able to attract at some type of a higher salary if they were in charge of all three, with considering that all three are probably struggling. I don't know the financials, but I assume that they're all struggling.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just bring this out again, it was something that was suggested a couple of years ago, is if the two entities can't get along, to establish a 7-member board. 2 with the museum, 2 with the foundation, a commissioner, and 2 appointed by the commissioner. So that way, if they can't get along, then we run, there's 3 that are in our camp here.
Yeah. And
Now,
that-
if those 2 want to unite, as I agree with you 100%, they have the passion. If those 2 unite, that's exactly what we wanted to happen. Then they would overrule us. I'm fine with that. What I don't want is you got 2 on one side and 2 on another side, and just nothing gets done.
I think that's what the cooperative agreement is, the goal of that is to
Okay.
make sure it's, a
7-member
nice,
board.
a nice blend of
Okay.
all the entities involved, and like I said, set up that it can carry the mission in that forward. Okay, anything else with that?
The threat is nothing gets done and we continue as status quo. That's,
Well,
If nothing gets done, we
Right.
continue. Okay, you're not saying that.
if nothing
Yeah.
gets done.
Something will get done, just a matter of when. Exactly. All right, nothing else for old business? Move on to the new business and begin with the bill vouchers.
Okay, I have bill vouchers, batch number 10479, 10580, 10720. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the 2015 Seneca County Road 10, County Road 35, County Road 61 paving fund, putting $65,223.50 into paving fund line. Then supplement to the permanent appropriations to the 2015 LPA guardrail upgrade project, putting $263,057.90. We have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the ambulance service fund, putting $2,000 into equipment. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the general fund, putting $1,619 into the FOJ. Apparently, the FOJ allocation has increased, and per Attorney General's opinion, authorized the prosecutor for the additional fees, which was not included in the budget. So that's what that vote's for. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the probate special projects fund, putting $750 into the HSA. Resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the soil and water fund for the $155,000 we appropriated in the budget. A resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the LGF formula to soil and water. This is for their floodplain administration for $10,000. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the Law Library Resources Board Fund, putting $1,000 into other expense. I have a resolution authorizing a contract service agreement with Wyandotte County Board of Commissioners for the receipt, custody, and care of Wyandotte County juveniles on behalf of the Seneca County Youth Center. And I also have one for the Huron County Board of Commissioners for the receipt, custody, and care of the Huron County juveniles on behalf of the Youth Center. And that's all I have.
Do I have a motion?
Move for approval.
Seconded.
A motion and a second. Any questions or concerns on any of the items? A quiz, FOJ stands for?
Furtherance of justice.
Maybe you said that, I missed it. Furtherance of justice.
That's the only one I knew.
Good, I didn't know that. Expand my acronym. All right, we have a motion, a second, no further discussion, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Kirchner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes, all approved. Thank you. All right, we have an opportunity for citizens' comments. It's not 10:30 yet, we don't need to.
Yeah,
It's you all alone, Tom.
Yeah,
No one else braved the
I
weather.
guess it's up to me, and I do have a comment. I've been around quite a while, you know, and I read something in the paper a while back where the courthouse was up to 11 million. Did I read that right?
You read that it is projected that we may be, the cost may come in above the target of 10 million, closer to 11, until we have contracts and that we don't have we can't say we're over budget because we don't have the budget set yet because we haven't signed contracts yet. But there was, well, I'll let you finish your question, but there were some
Well,
reasonings for that.
that's my question.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's running over up to 11, if it goes up to 11, is it gonna go up to 12 now? Can you hold it? You know, is time moving, is the lack of getting it done make it, asking it to go higher?
Well, a lot of things factoring into it. We could probably elaborate all day on that, but,
Right.
you know, the cost of the labor and all of those things are concerns. But the biggest things is what our owner's representative was telling us, as well as what we were learning from those we were negotiating with, our architect and engineers. There were some significant things left out of what now is over a 3-year report, Burgess and Niples, that was being used kind of as the benchmark. There were some programming things, meaning how the floors are laid out, that were left out because it wasn't specific. I mean, they weren't talking with, you know, everybody on that. It was a study, as well as the fixtures, furnitures, and equipment, FF&E expenses were not included in that. And so that's a significant factor. So those are a couple key components that jumped out of them right away as concerns that, you know, cautioning us that I don't know that you can keep this at your $10 million mark. But as long as it takes, yes, but we are moving in at the fastest pace we can at this moment.
Well,
Yeah.
I just hate to see it run up.
Yeah.
Because from other people I hear, you know, well, it's gonna be millions over before it's.
Well, here, Tom, there's a number of factors. Thank you, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think that it's important to understand that the spirit of expressing our concern that there could be an increase in cost is based on the fact that Burgess and Nyepel study was done on 2013 construction costs. And now we're talking about 2016. There are numbers that are across the board from a construction standpoint of just regular increases at the rate of inflation that we've had. I think that the other thing that I want to be clear about, at least from my standpoint, is that we felt that from a transparency standpoint, that the public ought to know as soon as we know that costs could be higher. There are ways that we could adjust the size, the configuration of the building to probably keep it at $10 million. The question is, do we want to do that after we've been, all through what we've been through with the cost of the building? So Commissioner Stacy's release basically said, brace yourself, this could be up to $11 million. But it was more us trying to be very transparent and trying to have a matter of full disclosure with the public. How would it be if we get to June and we get to bid and it is 11 million or it is 10.9 million or whatever, and say, whoops, if it's 10.2 or 10.4 or something like that, we can say that we advise you as to where things might end up. So again, as a matter of full disclosure and as a matter of total transparency, I think it's important to let the public know as soon as we know if there are any changes in the composure or the complexion of that courthouse building.
I appreciate that, what
Yep.
you're saying. I really
It was, at the time when the bid come out, I consulted with Burgess and Nyepel, and they wanted and looked at historical information, and they said, historically, a building of this, construction costs are gonna increase about 4.5% a year. That's $450,000 a year. And realizing that the day they finish the study, the next day it becomes outdated. We understand that, and
Yeah.
even though that was just a study, there was an awful lot of stuff that had to go through. This is an extremely complex program with city, county, and then we had, a faction that was looking at a different facility that disagreed with it. You could ramrod it through. That would probably save some money, but sometimes when you ramrod it through, you don't dot all your i's and cross all your t's. So even though I am absolutely in agreement, I'm upset that it's taken so long, but there's just some of it that just has got to. But we have to be cognizant as business leaders, time is of the essence. That time, more delay is gonna cost more money. I look at it, it's $35,000 a month, every month. Every month is what we're increasing the cost. But, would you rather do that, spend that money and do it right, or put up something and all of a sudden it's not right? And then this is something that our generations to come are gonna reap the benefit of what we're doing here today. So it's a tough one. I wrestle with it, Tom. I wrestle with it.
I
Thank you.
remember building the building with the bank, and the contractor was behind schedule, of course, and the question to him is, can you get this thing done more quickly than you're working on it? And his answer was, do you want it done correct, or do you want it done quick? I say, is there any possibility to have both of those things happen?
Well taken, though. Well taken.
On another comment, I would like to see a building as strong as the one that used to be there, and as neat, as nice. Thank you. I'm done.
We have a conference call to do a joint ditch resolution at 10:30. Any other business, or do we want to take a brief recess?
Anything else to talk about? Reminder, our board session next Tuesday will be at Clinton Township at 7 o'clock. It's our quarterly meeting.
Hope that's next week already.
Yeah.
How time flies, we're having fun.
Yes. So, just a reminder
Yeah,
of that.
offsite
7
Clinton Township Fire,
p.m.
that's at the fire department on
101.
101.
830,
Mike, you're gonna have to get to the electronic age.
837 North State Route 101.
What do you mean, he scans that into his electronic brain?
Yeah.
And he's got his written calendar, all that? Probably bells and whistles going
No
on his head and
comment, no
everything.
comment,
We're still on, I take it?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, I will
we want to recess and,
I will not have an answer to that.
let's recess and we'll have a 6-minute break. And we'll come back and do our joint ditch resolution with Hancock County.
All right.